my channel and welcome if you're new. I'm Georgia, I'm a first time mum to a 10-month-old baby girl, and in this video I'm going to be sharing with you 10 things that people don't really tell you about before having a baby. I think they would benefit you if you're currently pregnant or thinking about having a baby. I really hope they come in useful. If you haven't already, I would love it if you subscribe to my channel, give it a thumbs up if you like what you see, and switch the notification bell on. So I'm going to chat a little bit about things that no one really talks about. Now the list is a lot longer, but I tried to condense it to the 10 probably most important things that I would like to share with you. So let's start. I'm going to start right at the beginning, so just after having a baby, the things that people don't share with you. First of all, it's after pains. It feels a little bit like labor pains, so it's almost like contractions, and it's completely normal. It's your uterus contracting back to its pre-pregnancy size, which is absolutely incredible. I mean, you've just given birth and it's already trying to go back to what it was beforehand. So yeah, it's just contractions. I was breastfeeding and I found that these pains were a lot stronger whilst I was breastfeeding, and like I mentioned, I'm just on baby number 1, but I do know that if you're on baby number 2, number 3, or whichever number you're on, the more babies you have, I think the stronger the pains get. So I just thought I'd mention that one because it is completely normal. Now if you are worried, obviously do make sure that you ask for help. The other one is postnatal bleeding. Now, I was aware that we bleed after giving birth, but I didn't realise how long we would bleed for. So I think I had enough maternity pads for probably like 2 weeks, but I would suggest having enough for at least 4 weeks. Just buy as many as you can, because I think I bled for at least 4 weeks after giving birth and I didn't have enough, and we were in full lockdown. I wasn't going anywhere. Luckily, I managed to rely on family and friends that were going to shop, so they dropped some off for me. Obviously, we're all different, so you might bleed for a lot less or a lot longer. You'll never have enough maternity pads because you can probably use them on your first period, but that's another one. The other sort of body change that happens just after giving birth is that you're probably going to look pregnant for a little while after giving birth, and that is completely fine. Don't forget, your body has just done something absolutely incredible, so what your body looks like really is not that important. But I wanted to talk about this because not many people share what their body looks like after having a baby. Your priority is keeping your baby healthy and safe, so really don't stress about losing the baby weight or going on crazy silly diets or doing anything like that. In fact, I'll pop a picture up here. I think this is just a few days after giving birth, and I pretty much look pregnant. When I looked at this the first time, I thought I was pregnant until I realized my daughter was in the picture too. Number 2 is breastfeeding. Breastfeeding can be very difficult. It is the most clever thing in the world. I absolutely am still blown away by it, but it can be really hard. Even though in my case, when I had Faye in the hospital, the midwife helped me put Faye to the breast straight away, and I thought, wow, this is super easy. I had a bit of trouble in hospital, but obviously the midwives are there. When you go home is when it starts to become really hard. I think the first few months are the hardest. It does get easier. It can be really difficult. Right at the beginning, you go through a phase where the baby does a lot of cluster feeding, which is basically the baby constantly wants to feed, and that is just baby's clever way of increasing your milk supply. So please don't think that you don't have enough milk. I mean, if you are worried, just try and get support, ask your midwife, your health visitor, but the chances are baby is just trying to increase your milk supply. So don't think that you haven't got enough milk to feed baby. I went to a breastfeeding workshop whilst I was pregnant, which I found so helpful. So if you find any of those, please do attend, because the information you get is really helpful. And I also passed that information on to my partner, so he knew a lot about breastfeeding and reminded me of those things when I was actually breastfeeding and exhausted and tired and thought it was all going wrong. So yeah, it can be really hard, but don't put yourself down. And also I would suggest you join in Facebook groups or online support groups, because they are really helpful if you have any worries or questions, just to chat with other mums, especially in these crazy times where you can actually meet up with other people. I would also love it if you have any questions or regards to breastfeeding. If I can help you at all, just based on my previous experience, just drop me a comment and I'll try to help in the best way I can. Number 3 is you will never, ever, ever, ever be able to go to the toilet alone again. Okay, maybe when your baby is a newborn and you are still able to put them in their crib or in their cot to sleep. But once they start crawling, that is it. I mean, this isn't a bad one, but it's one that people don't really tell you about. So if you're still pregnant, please ensure you are having all the time you can alone to the toilet. I mean, I guess once you have a baby, you won't really have that much time to spend alone anyway. But yeah, I thought I would share that one too. Number 4 is sleep deprivation. Yes, you are told obviously that you're not going to sleep much, but I don't think many people speak about how frustrating and angry you can get. I find myself in the middle of the night night when Faye wakes up and she just won't go back to sleep, how angry I get, and feeling angry at your partner because they're probably sleeping whilst you were up with a baby 600 times trying to put them back to sleep or feeding them. But that does not make you a bad parent. Sometimes we tend to be too harsh on ourselves as mums and also compare to other people. I find lots of people compare themselves and their babies to other babies. Please just remember not to compare you or your baby. You and your baby are completely unique, and no book out there, no website, no other person will know you and your baby more than anyone else. So please don't compare. You are doing an absolutely amazing job looking after your baby. Another one that people don't really talk about, it's almost like a taboo subject before having a baby, is stitches, tearing during giving birth, and episiotomies. And that is when a midwife will give you a cut just to help baby come out, maybe because baby's in distress, and that is also completely normal. It's not something I'd really explored. I knew that you can tear whilst giving birth, and another one, if you haven't heard of, is perineal massage. If you haven't, go and look it up. It's something that I tried doing. Basically, it will try and help you from tearing. Now, I didn't tear. I had an episiotomy because baby was getting a little bit distressed, but that means that you will also have stitches. Again, that is completely normal. It can be very painful to recover from, but you just have to take your time. One thing I found that really helped me heal was witch hazel. You just put a little bit of witch hazel on your pad after giving birth. You're going to be changing a lot of maternity pads, so if you just pop a little bit of witch hazel, or if you do have any bath, put it in the bath. So I hope that tip helps you. If you haven't bought it already, go and buy it. Another one is bonding. Now, this might be you bonding with your baby or your partner bonding with baby. This doesn't always happen straight away from birth, this massive love that you feel for your baby. I did, I think. I just remember being in awe of this life I had just created. That bond will grow with the days, the months. You will see them change, develop, and I think that is when your bond will increase. You're getting to know this new baby that you've just created, and your bond will grow. So don't stress out if you haven't got that really strong bond straight away. But also, if you think you're struggling with bonding, just try and do different activities that might help. Now, whether that is having a bath with baby, I think is a good one. Nappy changing, use that as a chance to play with baby, you know, tickle their feet, kiss them, blow raspberries on them, and a lot of skin to skin time. I did loads of skin to skin from the moment that Faye was born, but also in the house whilst breastfeeding, and I think that does help a lot with bonding. And I also made sure that her dad did it too, because I think that is another area that isn't really spoken about much. Dad's bonding, dad's mental health when we have a new baby. So also make sure dad gets time to bond, do activities that will help them bond, skin to skin time and everything like that. But if you think you are struggling, please do reach out for help. That is another really big one. There is help out there. There are other mums in the same boat. You are not alone on this journey. Back to our bodies and how our bodies change. One thing I just did not expect, I hadn't even thought of. I'm quite a sporty person, quite active, quite strong. After I gave birth, I had realized that I had lost all my muscle tone, everything. My arms felt weak, my stomach obviously felt weak, my legs, and I just was not prepared for that. So that is just another thing to keep in mind, and just not to stress out. Your body will regain strength really, really fast, but please don't worry about it. It's just something to keep in mind. And that brings me on to my next point, which is exercising after having a baby. Now, I'm not a trained PT or anything like that, but I have done quite a bit of research because I think no one ever told me about exercising after having a baby, and you really do not want to jump straight back into doing what you were doing before having a baby. One thing I would recommend you doing, if you don't know about it, is after having a baby, make sure you check that you don't have ab separation. There are lots of videos online to check if you have ab separation, but if you are worried, ask your doctor, because I found that it's something that no one even asked me about and never checked. But I did my own research, made sure that I didn't have ab separation, and followed a lot of very basic postnatal exercises to regain my strength from the inside out. There are lots of very basic exercises that you can do straight after having baby, and these involve a lot of breathing, just very basic lying down exercises. And another one is pelvic floors. Make sure you do your pelvic floors. You might have been told this, but if you haven't, this is just a reminder. You want to do them now that you're pregnant and for quite a long time after baby. In fact, I'm 10 months postnatal and I probably should still be doing them. And if you do think you have any issues after giving birth with sort of leakage or pelvic floor issues or prolapse, do get help. Don't just suffer and think this is normal, because it's not. There is help out there, and there are exercises that you can do to better better your situation. And do your pelvic floor exercises. If you're pregnant, you want to be doing these right now. Do them whilst you're watching this video. Number 9 is trust your gut. Mother's instinct is a really big thing. If you think there is something wrong with your baby, then there probably is. If you take your baby to the doctor and they palm you off for any reason or tell you that your baby is fine and you're really worried, then please do make sure you insist. Go back, ask to see a different doctor if that is the case. If you are really worried, then you can call 111 if you're in the UK. Just make sure that you get whatever you're worried about seen to, because if you're worried, chances are that you are right. And number 10, labour and giving birth can be a positive experience. Now, obviously it's always a positive experience because at the end of it, we have baby. But we are always shown these images on TV of a woman in absolute agony, screaming her head off, about to give birth, and lots of people are traumatized by this. Now, based on my personal experience, I had an induction, so it was nowhere near to what I had planned. In fact, everything I had planned didn't go to plan, but I was completely prepared for this. I had done a really in-depth hypnobirthing class. I was in hospital on my own for 3 days and I had a really fast labour. I think my labour was an hour and 45 minutes. My partner just made it there about 25 to 30 minutes before I gave birth. But until then, I managed it all on my own, just with breathing techniques. I was listening to relaxation music. I was just trying to walk around, relax, get myself into sort of calm state of mind until things ramped up really fast. As far as I remember, everything was pretty positive. So it doesn't have to be this traumatic, horrible thing. I mean, if it was that bad, many of us wouldn't be here and people wouldn't be having children. I would just like to share this with you. If you're pregnant and you might be worried about giving birth, then there are lots of hypnobirthing classes or antenatal classes that you can go along to, or online obviously at the minute, just to make yourself feel a little bit more positive. I'll link a few things in the description if you want to go and read. There we are. Those are some of the 10 things that you often don't hear about when you're pregnant, and I hope it helps you if you're pregnant to prepare for the amazing arrival of your baby. You are awesome. Your body's gonna do an amazing thing, and I would just go with the flow. You know yourself more than anyone, and you know your baby. If you think something is right or if you think something is wrong, you will probably be right. And if you are worried, just make sure you ask people. That's what midwives, health visitors, and your family and friends are there for. So I wish you all the best. I hope this video was useful for you. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, a subscribe, and I will see you next time.